Hello and welcome to Stefan's podcast, the podcast for everything Japan and what's going on in my little Japanese island. So we've got news from Japan coming hot and heavy for you today, so let's jump into it. So last week I spoke about how there was a screen being put up in Yamanashi to stop tourists from taking pictures off the beautiful Mount Fuji view. It was in a weird place though, above a Lawson's. Well, not the place that I would want to go and take a picture of it, but hey, people apparently love this picture and cannot get enough of it. So the Japanese government decided to stop this by putting a mesh screen on top of the Lawson's to stop people taking pictures of it. And apparently some naughty little people have been cutting holes in the barrier so that people can still take pictures. I have to say, this was one of the weirder things that Japan have done to stop tourists. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, maybe that's good. Whoever did it, get your pictures, leave. But what a weird solution to put a screen mesh so no one can take a picture of it. Seems crazy to me, and the holes being poked in it, I have to say, I'm not even that mad. I think this is one of the stories where I'm just like, whatever happens, happens. Silly solutions get silly answers. Certainly one of those. So let's move on to the next Japanese story. Oh, this is a fun one. A Japanese school is trialing a year without homework. That's right, for 1 year, the students don't have to do any homework whatsoever. But the school is Japanese, so of course there is some kind of homework, but they've basically decided to leave it up to the students to decide what homework do they want to do. They can do as little or as much as they want. So the teachers provide basically optional homework. They will print sort of handouts at the end of the class and let the students choose how much they want to do. And in some cases, they're actually doing more homework than what would have been set in most cases, or the students are like really focusing on one or two subjects that they really like to do. And I think this is actually very good. Some of the students can start early if they really like, let's say, maths. They can focus in on maths and that's the way they want to go. They want to become, say, maths teachers, engineers. They can really focus on it. And if they, let's say, don't like English, then hey, okay, they can choose where their life goes. It's very interesting. In fact, this is something that I really hope my school does. I've got this one student. They are the best drawer that I have ever seen, and they're so young. I honestly hope that they go into making comic books, doing something with computer art. It's amazing. I look at them and I think, you are wasted in this class. You need to get drawing because your talent is just fantastic. So good. And I would love to see them just draw all day long. Amazing stuff. Now, here is a cool story that I've just heard about. This is a story from NHK World, and it's a little bit old, about 2 weeks ago, but this story is fantastic. A really cool thing if you're working in a company. So, Japanese firm is allowing young workers to pick their own bosses. So after working for a company for a little bit, you get to choose who your boss is. And they've got this really interesting system of how you get to choose. So they give you an option of, on here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bosses. Their names have been blurred out in the picture, which I think is hilarious, and you get like a free tier system for how you want to be their boss. In Japanese, they do a circle. If you're like, yes, that's the guy who I want to be my boss, that would be amazing. They have a triangle for so-so, and then they have an X for definitely not, I do not want him as your boss. Now this is great, not only for 2 reasons, I think. One, companies can see what other people, like low-level employees think of their bosses. Because if you see someone like this, there's one guy here, he's got 3 X's crossed on his name. Almost everyone else doesn't have any crosses. There's only 2 other people, 2, 3, there's 4 people on there who only have 1 cross. So I'd be looking at that employee and going, okay, why does everyone hate him? He should not be a supervisor in this company. If everyone's going, we don't want him here, he sucks, that's a problem. And also is saying that it's building really good relationships between bosses and employees. I'd have to say, when I worked at a company through a few years ago, I got stuck with a boss that I hated. I hated them so much. I would have loved this system because every other boss in the company was great. I just got stuck with this horrible, horrible lady, and unfortunately, that's life. Sometimes you get dealt the short end of the stick. But I think this is amazing. Really, really good stuff. Love to see these solutions. I would definitely, if I was this is an architectural firm that have done this. If I was an architectural minded person, I would go work for this company because I think that is awesome. Now, here in old Japan, they're coming out with this new word that's going around. It's not an official medical term, but many people have been saying it, and it's called weather change sickness. And in fact, there's actually weather reports that you can see if the weather change is going to make you sick. So there's apparently lots of people who suffer from this weather change sickness, and what will happen is people will get like headaches, their joints will go, they'll feel a little bit lightheaded, apparently they'll have bad stomach problems, and the Japanese weather system is now actually putting a map out so you can see where these weather change system comes from. So according to the science, you feel sick because it's a change in the pressure on your ears, and they've also got on here special massages you can do to your ears to stop this from happening. But I have to say, as someone who doesn't get this is kind of a weird condition, but hey, this is interesting. So if you're prone to sickness, if the weather changes to too cold, you can get sick. If it changes to too hot, you can get sick. If you changes to too snowy, you can get sick. The only time I get sick is when it's dark and miserable and the winter comes. What do they call that? Seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. So sad. So I'm looking at a map here of where places are where people are going to have this sickness, and it's pretty much all of Japan at the moment, which is really sad. Hokkaido have it, the middle of Japan has it, Tsushima, where I live, we're in the red zone as well for it. And it looks like Kyushu, the rest of Kyushu is orange, and Tokyo is orange. So good for Tokyo and good for Kyushu. Also in Japan, we've got some really, really bad weather coming for most of Japan, apart from Tsushima. Yes, Tsushima wins once again, baby. Woo! So everywhere in Japan is being affected by a typhoon, and they're having some really, really heavy rain system comes in. Shinkansens are being looked at cancelled. My sister in Japan has said it's very, very rainy where she is. My Japanese teacher said it's very, very rainy where she is. She's just had days of rain and rain and rain. And I'm like, it's clean skies here. Tsushima is #1, baby. So our next story for you. Okay, here's a story. This is a Japan story. Domino's, the pizza place, which I used to love when I first came here. It was like a little taste of home, but the price of it is ridiculously expensive. But they have added a pizza with pineapple on it. Okay, not too much of a crazy thing. Pizza companies have been doing this for years, putting pineapple on it. I personally think heated pineapple is disgusting, and anyone who eats it is crazy, but they have created what they call a tropical twist pizza. They are actually putting pineapple into the crust. That's right, into the crust. It's too much pineapple. Who would ever eat this? I don't know. It looks like an absolute monstrosity. So they've got the pineapple on top of the crust. They've got cheesy crust inside it, and oh, come on, it's too much. Too much, Japan. They're also doing another interesting thing. They're putting coconut into the crust as well. That, to me, doesn't sound that bad, because I don't know if you've ever had a Peshwari naan. That is probably some of the nicest bread that you'll ever have. Oh, it's delicious. I can't get enough of it. Beautiful tasting food and beautiful affordable price, but that's a curry for you. And, we've got one more news story coming in for you. It said that robots are going to take all of our jobs in the future. AI is going to kill every single job out there. But here's a good news story where robots are actually doing something good. So robots will soon try to remove melted nuclear fuel from the destroyed Fukushima reactor. And when I saw this, I was like, oh my god, genius! this is such a great idea. Send the little robot in, take some of the radiation out, and then you can slowly bring it down and down and down. But apparently this is a very difficult operation. It's actually been in the plans for the last 10 years, but it keeps getting pushed back because of the time. Also probably COVID pushed everything back. But this is a great news story. Apparently they're going to do a first test of it. So they're going to bring some of the nuclear debris out, test it, and then they can see if they can keep bringing more and more of it out. Really cool story. I love stories about robots. Fantastic. Love it. And that is the podcast for this week. Thank you very much for watching. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. I will be back in a week's time to make another podcast. I might even be back before that. Have a fantastic day wherever you are, and goodbye.